right, we are back and ready to go into game number 4. What could stand to be match point for DesRow, up 3-0 against his opponent Winter. He did win against him 2-0 in an earlier best of 3 in the winners bracket before sending Winter down to the losers bracket to fight his way through to end up back up here. So let's get on into the game. It is going to be on Deadwing, and it looks like everyone is ready. Winter says swarm host time, so buckle up.
All right, could be a long one, and he really needs to do something a little bit differently. I think that DesRow's had his number, and he's got to claw his way back into this if he wants to take top spots.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are going to be going into the game. 10 seconds to start the match and then to load. And this is one of the larger maps out here, so it will. It's hard to say who it would really advantage. DesRow hasn't whipped out a Stargate yet, and that was a fairly popular thing he did against Winter earlier in the day.
He did say that he was going to be trying some new builds against Winter in this, and he said that during the finals he was going to be hiding his build orders because he doesn't want Winter to be able to see what he's been doing after the game.
That's funny. Well, in the upper right-hand corner of Deadwing, it is going to be our
after
orange
you get into
Protoss.
the game on the stream.
Thank you.
No problem.
The upper right-hand corner of Deadwing is going to be our orange Protoss player. His name is DesRow.
And in the bottom right-hand corner of this map, Winter down 0-3. It is Winter. So once again, Winter really needing to do something a little bit different here if he wants to take this top spot. Again, these two guys are friends. They do play a lot of games together. They banter around. And I think that Winter kind of knew, based on the last time that they met in the winners bracket, that it may not go as well for him as he was hoping it would, but you never know. I mean, he still has the potential to come back into the series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything could happen. I mean, you saw in the series with Spider Slayer when he was down 2-1, he said he turned on some music, and then he won 2 games to win the series. So I'm assuming that he turned on whatever music it was now.
I feel like you have to, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it makes you win games, it would certainly be a good idea to turn it on when you need to win a game.
Right. Exactly. Any advantage that you can do, maybe borrowed some of Michael Jordan's special stuff from Space Jam.
Absolutely. So this probe is going to do some circles around here. Yeah, DesRow is saying, yep, I'm the first one to scout you all the time. And knows what base to go to all the time. Some would say cheating, others would say Spidey sense.
He's saying, attributing it to the RNG gods.
Absolutely.
RNGesus, otherwise known as.
So he is once again going for the same very early Nexus that he always basically does in every game here against Winter as a Zerg. So 16 Nexus going down for DesRow. A similar pool going down for Winter here. Also, no gas. He has taken any of these games early in the game, going to get that pool and get the queens and some Zerglings down to start scouting around the map.
Yeah, so originally Winter's hatchery had been placed a little bit off, and DesRow kind of stood there with his probe like, what? You know, he started whacked at it a little bit, and it did get canceled. So Winter is blaming the symbol that's kind of there that's supposed to mark where it's at, but so cannon going down at the front there. DesRow trying to get that wall up once again.
Yeah, this is going to be a fairly easy entrance here to wall off, so I would be surprised even if Winter's early Zerglings are able to get in, especially with that cannon going on. Does take 2 shots to take out a Zergling. His base is up. He's chrono boosting out the probes. He does have a little bit of energy left here on the next eye, so he will probably be using that to get a probe advantage here pretty quickly. He has really been favoring the really early just ground forces and going with a large number of sentries to be able to control Winter's army. And, you know, last game Winter got burrow roaches, which were able to kind of circumvent those force fields a little bit. But in the end, it was the Observer that won the day.
So Winter chasing that probe all the way back home is not able to get in, though, due to that cannon. But he can see what's going on around
Winter
the front.
here going for 3 hatcheries this game.
Yep. I mean, it's a big map, and he's kind of got a good idea of what's going on at the front there.
Still is not taking a gas, just looking to drone up. Fairly standard build here for quite a while. Just the kind of 3 hatcheries, no gas, then around 30 supply or so right about now, you'd put down a gas or 2.
Oh my, so looks like there's a Stargate going down in the back of DesRow's main base. There is an Overlord that's behind that base, but it is not moving in the right direction to be able to scout that.
To be honest with you, I'm not surprised at all to see this Stargate DesRow going 2 games here without pulling one, and I know that's something that he likes to do, so the fact that we see it now is certainly no surprise, although he is not going to focus on that as there is a Stalker being chrono boosted out, and Warp Gate also. He's definitely not going to be going all YOLO carrier on us now, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Oh, that Overlord you did mention has turned itself around, so
oh yeah, he's going to be going in
back
and
up in here to scout around, and he's going to be headed directly.
Yeah, there's nothing coming. He does see that indeed, and there is an Oracle coming out. Stalker now coming up to try and clean that Oracle out of there.
Winter's going to go ahead and put down a Spore Crawler at each of his bases so that he will be relatively defended against that Spore Crawler. We'll be able to get in some pokes at some of the outskirts of the gas geysers there. But that
if there was any gas being mined, right?
Yeah.
I guess there's a little bit there on the natural now.
Next time. Roach Warren going to be going down here as well as an Evolution Chamber. The Oracle going to be headed in along the right side of the map. Probably not going to get a ton done, but Void Rays to follow and
being annoying. That's something.
Yeah, and just did make Winter make 3 Spore Crawlers, 3 less drones, and extra minerals spent. Winter hasn't really gotten anything going here yet to put any pressure on DesRow, therefore he's going to expand at his third base. Oracle comes in, does make a couple of jabs here at the Queen, and
got a single kill off of that thing.
Yep.
Took a lot of damage on it, so he's backing up and owning up to, well, sarcastically owning up to the inefficiency of that.
Well, I mean, that's, I've always said that Oracles aren't my favorite against Zerg just because it is fairly easy to defend against them, whereas Terran and Protoss are a little bit more weak against them, I think, especially with the, you can put down a Spore Crawler pretty quick. But Zerglings are going to come in, but they are going to get blocked out at the very last second by a very clutch pylon going down here from this probe. So, DesRow can tip his hat to the work of that diligent probe.
I mean, yeah, very, very quick reaction speed there to put that down. So now we do see a fleet beacon going down as well.
Oh, my word.
About halfway done, another Stargate is being added on in a second one to bring the total up to 3.
So, maybe he is going to YOLO carrier us.
Yeah, who knows? Winter taking a 4th base now. That Oracle did try and prevent that from happening, but didn't quite get that drone. And the shields are quite low again, so he's going to back up and let those 2 recharge.
Oracle's late game, if you don't get much done with them, it is a good idea to keep around, not just totally fly them in and just sacrifice them straight out. I mean, you can use Revelation here and get quite a bit done.
So I think we were jokingly talking about carriers again, but it is carriers again.
Not surprised. Not surprised. I mean, the one thing that the last time DesRow lost the game with carriers, in my opinion, the thing he didn't really have is a lot of static defense around his bases. But, I mean, this map is totally a lot easier to defend. I mean, he's got basically 2 ramps he has to get up to in order to get into his main base. This third base has a ramp of its own here. He can wall off and protect. Doesn't really have a whole lot of static defense going on there. But this Void Ray is going to be whacking away at this expansion here. Still is not going to get much done to it as the Queen show up to defend.
Winter said worth as he used a Queen to kill an Oracle, and then the Void Ray came in immediately after and was able to take out the Queen in a somewhat comical fashion. The Void Ray is only taking shield damage and is backing up long enough to allow those shields to recharge, so being very conservative with his usage of that.
Winter is going here with some Hydralisks and Roaches with Roach Speed coming down, and as well as ranged upgrades like a Carapace. Level 2 is coming down, as well as Grooved Spines and the Roach one.
So this one Void Ray has been able to do a decent amount of damage to this hatchery. It's about halfway done. There are 2 Queens there that were able to chase it away because it is very low on health now. But back in the main base, I mean, the carrier numbers are starting to grow quite a bit.
Yeah, and also topping it off with some Phoenix. He's getting the carrier upgrades from the Fleet Beacon as well. Void Ray is just sitting around here regenerating its shields. It is pretty useful. I mean, with 4 Void Rays and a Mothership Core, you can go in and with Prismatic Alignment, you can snipe out a hatchery relatively quickly. Spire here going to be going down for Winter. Both players just kind of staying back in their base, not really doing a whole lot, macroing up.
Yeah, there are 8 Hydras on the field. They're kind of hanging out in the middle of the map, and it looks like there's 4 more Roaches in production. 39 Zerglings, so he could gear up here for a push. There's not, I mean, there's a decent amount here in terms of flying, but I think he wants to get more carriers before he does too much with them.
Yeah, you definitely need some kind of buffer there, especially you need to get some Void Rays also if it ends up coming out with any Corruptors, but the Spire is just going to be finishing. Zerglings taking out the rocks that are restricting the travel within Winter's base. Ion Pulse Crystals is completed, so he will definitely have some additional range on those Phoenix. I mean, we've seen in previous games the Phoenix of DesRow have been absolutely worth their weight in gold. Just have been one of the most worthwhile, monetarily wise units that DesRow has used so far today. Welcome to Cabot-Town, says DesRow.
As those carriers were revealed to those Zerglings as they ran into the cannons. The interceptors did fly out to greet them. Yeah,
DesRow definitely has a really good setup on his bases this time, whereas last time he was not as well defended. I think he could use some additional cannons up here, but he does have a nice little row of cannons here, as well as the carriers and the Mothership Core to do Photon Overcharge. But Winter looks like he's gearing up for a big push here. The numbers of Roaches are getting pretty high here. Upgrades are about to finish as soon as Muscular Augments and Ground Carapace level 2 are complete. Looks like he's going to push up in here. The Zerglings headed in. The reactionary warp in by DesRow to kind of block that off, but these cannons going down oh so fast. Mothership Core comes in and puts down Photon Overcharge.
And those carriers are kind of moving around somewhat hesitantly. He really wants to keep them out of range of those Hydras as best as he can. The interceptors are moving out, trying to do damage to the meat of this army, which really are the Hydralisks. Zerglings are able to get in, though, and they're moving into the natural base, or the third base, rather, that it does have a Photon Overcharge down, and looks like Winter's bringing down 2 of these bases simultaneously. But
yeah, the Hydra numbers are falling here very quickly. He's lost a couple of carriers, but this will be the end of the Hydras here. So carriers will be able to help clean up the rest of the Zerglings here. So DesRow, I don't think he lost 3 workers.
Oh, there's going to be more happening now. As they are shot off in the corner, but it looks like carriers are coming to save the day. He did lose that 4th base. He's lost a little bit of security and income there, but overall not too terrible.
Honestly, DesRow did lose a base, but that's not that big of a deal at this point. He can rebuild that, but what he does need, there are Corruptors on the way, so he's definitely going to need some Void Rays to be able to power down those Corruptors.
And he just continues to get carriers. There's 4 more in production.
Oh, this is really scary out here. These carriers are very exposed. Luckily, the Hydralisks are on a move command and just kind of walk right underneath them.
Yeah, they know that they're slow, though, so they can get in here and do a lot of damage. He really wants to get this base down, I think, but now the carriers are moving in from behind, and the Hydralisks are really bunched up. They're having to move in, and most of the Hydralisks are actually killed at this point, so the Zerglings are trying to make it in and just do what damage they possibly can.
Yeah, exploiting the slowness of these carriers, the Zerglings are running right into the main base, going to get as many kills as can. Looks like warping in some Zealots here, as there is a Dark Shrine on the way as well, or on the field as well. 4 more carriers being warped in that are about to complete, but these Zerglings are getting the work done here. 13 total probes killed as 1 more carrier does join the fight. The other 2 to 3 are working. The other 5 are on their way back to join the fight in the main base. If he's not careful, he may lose the Twilight Council, or the Templar Archives here, which is researching Storm, but the other carriers look like they're on the scene and will be able to clean up the Zerglings. The probes come back to finish mining out this base. Pneumatized Carapace is about done as well, so that will be assisting those Overlords in traveling across the field. Winter does have a 5th base now, so he is going to be mining it all up, transferring the drones around. DesRow does know that it's there. There is a Zerg on the field. Wow. The words, man.
The words, indeed. So back home, DesRow has these Stargates are just kind of sitting idle. He doesn't really have the income at the moment to keep them functioning. Continuing to chrono boost out some probes, trying to get as many out as he can. He does have 4 in production at a time. More interceptors are being made, and here comes more of those Corruptors here trying to do what damage they can get done on these carriers. There's not really a whole lot of answers to it. Corruption is going down on all that, and yeah, they're starting to drop pretty quickly here.
And the one Void Raid does come up to assist these carriers in taking out these Corruptors.
Yep, so we do have 5 carriers that survived that onslaught. The Roach is still trying to get some damage done on this 4th Nexus. It looks like they may be able to take it out.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to get it here as these Archons are joining in the fight. So DesRow is going to keep his 4 bases, but looking at the income, it is quite a bit lower than Winter's 2,400 to 1,700 minerals. Gas, fairly equal. But looking at the workers' loss, I mean, Winter has killed 25 probes of DesRow, so he's kind of keeping him down in that regard a little bit. Can't really get this 4th base established, and it is also weaker, so it's easy for a run-by of Zerglings to come in and take it out.
Yeah, he's having a hard time building up the infrastructure there and keeping it up. And the carrier numbers did drop a little bit, so now he's reinforcing with more Void Rays this time.
Yeah, that's definitely a wise choice. Void Rays take down the Corruptors so much faster, and Winter obviously favoring those as he has 7 or 8 more in production, as well as more Roaches. I mean, Void Rays just absolutely melt those Corruptors.
And there are going to be 20 on the field by the time he's done with this production.
He has High Templar here as well, so those Storms will be pretty useful as well, as the creep is now beginning to reach DesRow's base. So that is going to let Winter know exactly what's coming as he begins to move out here. These Archons are getting surrounded. Oh, Storms go down right on top and do hit most of those Zerglings. The High Templar got taken out. 1, 2 carriers are out front and a bit exposed. Void Ray coming in to help with those Corruptors.
So 2 carriers have fallen now. There are 2 remaining Void Rays trying to come out, but there are a lot of Corruptors here. They do have +2 upgrades on them, and they are making short work of those carriers. But now the Void Rays are moving forward, trying to get damage done on the Corruptors, and those numbers are falling as well.
Yeah, these Void Rays are going to be able to clean up the rest of these Corruptors. Winter's going to decide to pull them back. 1 more carrier does come to join the fight, but largely just shield damage these Void Rays, so they will power up. But now DesRow is pushing out a little bit. That engagement took place well in front of his 4th base, which he's been trying to establish here for quite a while. But Winter is on 5, so it looks like DesRow, having the spidey sense of that, is going to put down his 5th base as well, expanding aggressively towards his opponent.
He does have +3 attack on his air and is now working on the armor level 1 to prevent dropping so quickly to those Corruptors.
There are a gaggle of Roaches out here that are working their way around with a couple of Hydralisks. More Hydralisks joining the fray now. Looks like Winter would really like to break in and seal the deal here with breaking down one of these bases one more time. Oh, it's a dangerous probe transfer.
Yeah, he's really gearing up here and now moving in the center here. Great Storms go down there.
Great Storm as Winter walked through it and then turned around and walked through it again. A larger number of Void Rays here, not as good against the Hydralisk, but excellent against the Corruptors as
yeah.
Might be on cooldown here, looks like.
Yeah, he's got that up, and the Corruptors are putting Corruption down. Void Rays are getting chewed up here pretty quickly. There's some Zealots coming in to try and handle some of these Roaches, but the Hydralisks and the Corruptors are getting a lot of work done here. The air of DesRow is slowly but surely shrinking.
Yeah, supply heavily in favor of Winter now, 175 to 97, as the 1 remaining carrier is under attack by the 1 remaining Corruptor. Looks like he is going to clean this up, and the DTs will end up killing these Roaches and is going to save his Nexus here. He does have his 5th up, so I mean, he's not totally in a bad position. He did only lose 2 probes, didn't lose that much economy, but he lost a lot of units, and he doesn't have a ton of production. I mean, he's got a good number of Stargates, a decent number of gateways, but it's still going to take a lot to catch up to the production here of Winter on 5 bases with a 6th hatchery incoming.
Yeah, and Winter's really kind of been able to do whatever he wants without a whole lot of incursion by DesRow. He's really not been able to do anything but play defense here.
Honestly, it's this kind of going back to the Yoshi games, it's the same kind of thing. Winter is kind of exploiting the slow and immobility of DesRow's army right here, so he's kind of able to move around, just kind of expanding around.
Yeah, and this creep spread is helping out a lot with that mobility.
Yeah, the reinforcements can get there very quickly, especially with the speed upgrades for these Roaches and for the Hydras. Decent number of Corruptors here, just kind of hanging out. Looks like he's moving forward with another group of Roaches and Hydras, and he is going to bring the herd. He's just kind of trying to keep the pressure on DesRow so he can't get up that critical mass of carriers.
And it looks like he's switching mostly into Void Rays now. He's kind of stopped carrier production. There's only 1 remaining. Storm's going down. It looks like Winter is really trying to just kill the last of this so he can move in unperturbed, and the last carrier does fall. Only Void Rays are remaining. There are 3 High Templar, but they are low on energy, can't do any storms, and now they're being hunted down as well.
Yeah, this is going to be the end of this base here for DesRow as the numbers of Roaches and Hydras have succumbed DesRow's army to their might, and he's going to be working on breaking into the third base here. While the Corruptors are taking out, DesRow does have one Dark Templar down here at the 6th base of Winter.
I'm not sure that's going to be the game-winning DT.
No, not a chance.
More Void Rays coming up with some Zealots to try and... Oh, there it goes. GG.
So Winter is going to take a match to make the score 3-1 here against DesRow. So we're going to go to a game number 5. I think DesRow, it's the second time he's tried carriers, second time it hasn't worked.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's intentional to do that and know that it's kind of a long shot, or if that's actually like a build that he's...
Or if he's just trolling Winter, basically.
Yeah. At any rate,
we will be taking a very brief break here and getting right back into our next game in about 30 seconds to a minute. So hang on with us. We'll be right back.